welcome back. My name is Kelsey. In this video, we are going to be starting off on my handmade series for Christmas. I know you're probably thinking it's a little early to be thinking about Christmas, but between my boyfriend's family and my family, I have a lot of people that I need to make things for, or not need to, I want to make things for. So we're going to start kind of early, and then hopefully by Christmas, I will have everything done. This is kind of a quilt, but also I'm kind of cheating calling it a quilt. I have a nephew and he is adorable, but boys seem to be really hard to make things for. Every time I look at like sewing projects with a boy in mind, nothing really comes up unless they're like super little kids and you can make them like little stuffed animals. He is around like 7, 8 years old, so he's not really interested in that, and he's very into like football and stuff like that. And I can't really make anything around that, so I decided to kind of make a cheater quilt for him. They are moving into a new house, so he's gonna have a new room and he's gonna be able to decorate it however he wants. And maybe he will like this enough that he wants to put it on his bed or use it when he's playing video games. Yesterday, I went to Hobby Lobby, grabbed two different fabrics. It's kind of going to be like a reversible quilt. So there's a more, I guess, serious traditional side, and then there's a more fun side that I think he will like, just really based off his age. As he gets older, he may like the traditional one more. And right now, he might like the more fun side. But overall, both sides are very neutral. They're like gray, white, and black. So no matter how his style evolves, he will kind of, hopefully, this will grow with him. So this is one side of the quilt. I kind of have it measured. You had seen me earlier measuring with two of the throw blankets I have. This is definitely a lot longer. I think the throw blankets kind of ended like right here. But I also want this to be able to be something that he could throw over like the end of his bed, and it's going to go from one end over, kind of waterfalling to the other. Our back bedroom actually is a queen size bed, so I kind of roughly measured, and this is from like in point of the mattress over the bed onto the other part of the mattress, this length. And I'd kind of rather it look like it'd be too long than it'd be too short, because I know with my throw blankets here, I can't really style them on the bed because they're just too short. With this, he could at least style it over the bed if he wanted to and throw it like over his feet or something. It does stink. I did want a 52-inch one, which probably would have put me like right over here, which would have made a really, really nice blanket, but there was literally only certain types of fabric at Hobby Lobby that was that long, and none of them really worked, and like texture wise, they were kind of rough. And if this is going to be a blanket, I want it to be comfortable. As far as the other side of this quilt goes, it's going to be this kind of like cloudy tie-dye look. I picked this side, Cam picked this side, and I think our nephew will probably love this side more than the pattern side, but I wanted him to have something fun and also something a little bit more classic. And then for the trimming around everything, I got this just plain black cotton that I'm going to make a bias binding around, and that way it'll go around the whole edge of the blanket, kind of just making it cleaner. It also gives it that pop that I kind of feel like it was missing because there's just so much gray and white going on. I wanted there to be like a dark, moody pop, and the black really works. Now, the really nice thing about this being a plaid is I have a very, very clear line of where I need to cut, which is super nice. I'm also sorry about Stella. She has taken a real liking to this fabric. Ma'am, can you stop? Come on. Ooh, thank you. And so where the clips are, I'm going to cut to the clip and then remove it, obviously, and then keep cutting. But basically, I'm just using the bottom of the gray stripe, and that is what we're going to work with. So first things first, in assembling, you're going to pick either side of your fabric, and you're going to put right side on the floor, wrong side facing up, and then you're going to sandwich the batting in between. having it as flat as possible, and then you're going to put your other fabric on top with the right side facing towards you. It's basically going to make a sandwich where you're going to have fabric, batting, fabric, and you'd be able to sew all of it down and it's going to connect itself all together. Now I am using a product that you can actually spray and it makes it a little tacky just because of the sheer size of this quilt. There's gonna be a good chance of a lot of movement happening while I'm sewing. So this is just kind of adds extra security that things aren't gonna move and twist around as I'm sewing, because if that happens, it's just a whole mess and it's not gonna end up correct. So I'm using this tacky glue stuff. You can use something as aggressive as Gorilla Glue, or you can just use batting glue. It just makes it a little bit more tacky. That way, like I said, everything doesn't move around. I'm also going to be using clips and pins throughout this entire blanket. That way, everything is super secure while I am sewing. Now we moved over to my sewing table. These are all batted together. Now this is kind of the part where it becomes more of a quilt than just a regular blanket. I am going to sew just following these lines right here and then going the opposite way, following these gray lines as well. And this will make a quilted pattern look. You'll see it a lot better on this side just because it's more of a plain fabric, but having these lines is very helpful because I'm able to just follow these really, really easily. It's also why it was super important to have these battings together, is as I'm following this, I don't want it to get crooked on this side, because this side is where you're going to see if the lines are not straight even easier than on this side. So right now I just have a white thread and the bobbin is also white. That way it's going to pop against here, but it's also going to pop against this as well. I could have also used a black or a gray, or even like one of these two different types of grays. You can use one color on one side and one color on the other. It's really just a preference of what you like. For this particular one, I'm trying to be as minimal as possible. So white made the most sense, that it'll still pop on this side, but it's not going to be so stand out on this side that it takes away from the actual pattern of the tie-dye. Now, as far as my setup goes with this, I have kind of rolled the blanket this way, and I'm going to sew this way first, which is the shorter side, and then as I'm doing it, I'm going to keep moving, and once I hit this area, I'm going to start rolling this side as I'm moving this side. That way this doesn't get all bunched up inside here. I'll be able to just fold this over as I'm done and keep moving down onto the thing, and then we'll do the exact same thing just on the other side. I'll roll this way, roll it all the way down, and then just keep moving as I'm sewing. have been sewing for probably about like 30-40 minutes. I didn't time this great. I have 7 lines already done, but it is almost 12 o'clock. So I'm going to have lunch because I do have a tendency to kind of hyperfixate and I'm not going to eat. So while I'm thinking about it right now, I'm going to eat, and that way I will have the entire afternoon to get as much done as I can. I'm hopeful, and this might be like very naive and show just how little experience I have making quilts or just sewing in general, but I'm kind of hopeful that I can finish this blanket today. Maybe. I don't know. We will see. But I definitely have faith that I can finish at least the short end of making those lines and maybe start on the opposite direction. I don't know. I don't know. We will see. You will see definitely in the next few minutes because this is going to be seconds to you. It is now 3:50. Cam is home. So if you can hear football game, that's why. There was a slight hiccup, just a slight one. I ran out of thread. So I had to run over to Michael's. I got two. So we should be able to get through this perfectly fine. If we go through two of these, I will be alarmed. But I'm going to show you what it looks like right now. I've gone about a little over a third, just because with the thread debacle, I ended up like wasting a little bit of time, probably like an hour and a half was kind of wasted going to Michael's and then coming back. But we're going to keep going. I'm probably going to have like a later night tonight just to try to get this done. Even if I'm only able to do the long ones that I'm doing right now and I'm not able to go sideways today, that's going to be okay. I just want to finish that part, mainly because I want to feel accomplished, but also because I feel like if I leave any of it not sewn together, it could move and shift. And then it's going to be like a whole thing to try to get everything lined up back together. Because the tacky stuff, it works, but I don't know for how long. So I don't want to really risk that and stretch it out for too long. But let me show you what we're working with so far, and then we will continue sewing. So I still have it a little rolled up. I'm going to unroll this side, which is the side I have done. It's not as obvious on this side of what's been done. Let me just roll it out and then we can flip it over. So I know you won't be able to really see this, but I've sewn right here. And then when I flip it over, this is where it's a bit more obvious of how much has been done, just because you can see it a whole lot better. So we have that side, and then we have like a decent amount left over. So you can kind of see we have a decent amount. I would say this is probably like a little over a third that have been already done. And then we have this rest. So it is the next day at the end of the day. So I look very different and it's cold. So yeah, this is why I have a sweater on. But I wanted to show you what this looks like. I finally finished around like 9 o'clock last night and kind of just like I just went to sleep. I ate dinner, I went to sleep. I didn't even bother like filming an outro. So this is kind of what it looks like now before we start the rest of it. It's really, really long, which I'm not 100% sure if that's okay or if I should, like, I don't know, shorten it a little bit. I'm going to try laying it across the bed and then seeing, like, if it looks ridiculous or not. If it does, I'm just going to cut the length a little bit. If it doesn't, it'll just be really long. But I wanted to show you what this looks like. So this is the plaid side, and I'm going to disappear for a second. So right now, I know you can't see all of it, but it is touching the floor and my hands are like up in the air. I'm going to say this is probably like a 6 foot long blanket right now, which, like I said, it might work out great or it might look ridiculous. I'm not really sure, but I really like the stripes. You can't see them as well on the checker side, but you can definitely see it on this side. You can see like all of the lines we've already done. And then really all I'm going to do next is the long ways. I think my sewing setup right now is not going to work for this long ways, just because even the short one, I didn't have enough room between where my desk ends and the wall begins to really be able to like hold all of this. And when it comes to like the long side, I'm really not going to have room. So I'm thinking I'm going to move my sewing machine to one of our like little TV trays. And I'm kind of going to like have a makeshift table behind it. So as I'm sewing, the long side will just have more room. Because, yeah, like I said, it's not going to work with the setup I have right now. So yesterday was 9 hours of sewing. I want to optimistically think that that was the longest part because we did long ways instead, well, we did widthwise instead of up and down. So hopefully, I know it's less lines, but it is a much longer side. So we will see. This might be hours. I'm going to try to get as much done as I can tonight and then do more tomorrow. It is a new day. We should be able to finish this quilt today. I have full faith actually that we will be able to finish this quilt today. We only have to do the bias binding around the edges. Bias binding is just a fancy word for trim. We're going to close up all of the raw edges around the quilt, and then after that, we're all done. I spent yesterday making a big roll of bias binding. I ended up choosing black just because for the front and the back, it's a very neutral, it matches both sides, so regardless of which side he decides to use, the binding will all look the same. I am using these clips. I will probably even have to pull out my secondary bucket of these just because the sheer size of this blanket that I'm probably going to use all of these and I'll need more, but we're going to start that right now and I kind of feel like I'll be able to finish this today. It's super simple once everything is attached. It's really just go, go, go from there, and it's just sewing one continuous line all the way around. So my outfit has changed and my background has changed. It is now just the weekend. It's just a few days after I've officially finished. And this quilt looks amazing. It is now phase one of Christmas, so this is why my background has kind of changed a little bit. But this quilt is awesome. It is definitely the longest project I've ever had, and it tested me. It tested me for sure. I am not good with repetition. If you know me personally, you know I like things to kind of change all the time. That's why I have this as my job. I'm a pattern designer. It changes every day. I'm doing something different every day, and I like that. And this quilt took me a week and it was nothing but sewing straight lines. And it kind of drove me a little insane, but it turned out so good. I did end up changing a little bit of my design. I was gonna do the same all the way around, and I felt like it would be kind of boring. So on the back, where it is all gray, I ended up kind of staggering. So some are just straight horizontal lines, while others are more of the squares that kind of look more like a quilt. I feel like it gives it a really modern look to it, and it makes it a little bit more fun to look at because that side is so much more neutral than the other side with the plaid going on. It also looks a lot more fun when you look at it because that side is quite more of a neutral with it being less busy than the plaid on the other side. I love the way it turned out. It is very long, but it fits perfectly on a queen size bed, which is what he's going to have in his new room. And yeah, it's a perfect thickness. I'm very happy I went with the 1/4 or yeah, 1/4 inch batting. And this completes phase one or project one of the handmade series. I have slightly changed course on this. It is going to be handmade and also thrifted and vintage finds. I found an amazing vintage piece for my baby sister that there was just no way I could make that. I'll show you. I'm going to do a whole compilation video with everything I'm giving to everyone.
But when I saw it, I was just like, there's no way I can ever do this. I'm not that talented. And she would love it. So I ended up buying that. It's vintage, it's handmade, just not handmade by me. But like I said, I'm going to do a whole compilation video. This one was the first one, though, for this quilt for my nephew. It came out amazing. And it was definitely the longest one. So I'm happy the longest one is done. And now all the rest will get progressively shorter and shorter. That way, it's more of like a 1-2 day project, not a week long project. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Happy early holidays if you celebrate, and I will see you in the next video.